with Strzok being fired, it now means that the top of the FBI has certifiably been fired and moved on, demoted for actions that are just outside the responsibilities of their office and assaulting this president in point of fact. Victoria, your thoughts on what we have now witnessed at the FBI?
Well, it was well-deserved, Lou. I mean, there's a thing in the law called res ipsa loquitur, and it means the thing speaks for itself, so the patient doesn't have to show negligence if the scissors are still in him after the operation. Well, look at what we have from Strzok. We have his vile animus expressed in all his texts. We have him declaring in his text that he has a plan to stop Trump, and then, lo and behold, we have him trying to stop Trump by opening up counterintelligence investigation based on this dossier that's been discredited, paid for by the Democrats. The thing speaks for itself. We don't need to go into any more angst about his motives. They're there, right there.
Joe, the clearance today being revoked for John Brennan.
Yes.
Do you have any objections, or do you think perhaps there should be far more Obama officials who will have their security clearances lifted?
This is a glorious moment for the country. An evil man has lost something that he's not entitled to. John Brennan is the worst CIA director in the history of this country. He betrayed his country by means of the plot against President Trump, which he was the leader of, involving Comey and Yates and others, Stroke, Page, all of the people at the FBI. And let's remember, Lou, everybody that was on the list of 9 that you gave should have their clearances revoked. And I hope that the revocation of Brennan's clearance today is a signal that they are starting to move toward the declassification of all the documents that we want to see to show just how corrupt the Obama FBI and DOJ really were.
The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, has called for those lifting of the classification of those documents. You're saying that you believe the White House is moving on that request now?
I believe that very sincerely. I know that this has been under consideration for some time, and the fact that they revoked John Brennan's clearance today, to me, is a sign that they are now moving toward the realization that as a public duty, they must declassify all of those documents so that the American people can see exactly the array of evil people who were lined up against this president, both as a candidate, as an interregnum, and finally after his inauguration. This is the greatest law enforcement, intelligence, and political scandal in the history of this country, and it needs to be fully exposed.
And they should also declassify all the FBI texts that were at issue, McCabe's and all of Strzok's, and also Bruce Orr's. We want to know a lot more about Bruce Orr.
And now with the firing of Strzok and this declassification that it's underway, and frankly, I will be amongst those cheering loudly, because this administration has both the opportunity to be the most open and transparent in American history. It also has the opportunity to advance the cause of justice and bring consequence and punishment to evildoers, as you say. To look at Mark Warner, Senator Warner, his reaction today, and I'd like to just read this, share this with our audience, if we could put that up. I guess to me, this had an eerie memory of an enemies list. Smacks of Nixonian-type practices of trying to silence anyone that is willing to criticize the president. That puts us again in uncharted territory, said the illustrious vice chair who's been running the Senate Intelligence Committee because Richard Burr, the Republican chairman, abdicated. Your reaction?
Well, Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, is basically an adolescent. You will recall that recently at a fundraiser cocktail party, he got a little drunk and started saying he had all kinds of secrets that if he wanted to, he could release and really embarrass the president. That shows you the kind of juvenile mind that sits in the head of Mark Warner. His performance as a United States Senator is not only awkward and unseemly, it's an embarrassment to the United States Senate, and he has brought ill repute upon the Senate by his drunken statements at that party.
He's also got a bad memory. Did he forget about the Clinton enemies list? What happened to that, and why didn't he mention that?
Yeah.
Well, he's nothing if not a swamp creature of convenience, I think we can say.
Indeed. Indeed.
And it's easy for him, perhaps, to put out of his mind, but the rest of us can't, his efforts with Waldman of Endeavor, the lobbying firm, to try to back channel a contact with Steele, Christopher
Yes.
Steele, the MI6 former MI6 spy, who authored the fake dossier that became this the tripping point, if you will, for the witch hunt ad nauseum.
Hey, Lou, have you played Adam Schiff's Conversation with the Russian Humorist yet?
Oh, that is, well, it is humorous and delightful to hear him, basically seeking from the fraudulent call, pretending to be a Russian agent, if you will, pictures of the president in compromising positions. I mean, to see his both temperature and blood pressure rise, figuratively speaking, I didn't know Adam Schiff had it in him. But enough about Adam Schiff for at least tonight. Victoria, thanks for being with us. Joe, thank you. We appreciate you both.
You bet, Lou.
Bye, Lou.